Today, I'm going to go over how to heal your thyroid. If you're struggling with hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, or any type of thyroid condition, this video is going to be of help. I'm going to give you the exact steps that you can take to start healing your thyroid. I'm going to give you the play-by-play, the exact steps, supplements, everything. If you feel like you're lost with your specific thyroid issue, if you feel like your doctors say your labs are fine, but you're not fine, this video is going to have all your answers. It's going to tell you exactly what is truthfully going on with you in your specific thyroid condition. It's going to tell you, what could it be? Hashimoto's, could it be hypothyroidism? It's going to tell you everything. So the first things first is we have to understand, obviously where the thyroid gland is located, and it plays many different roles throughout the body. It helps with cellular metabolism, helps with collagen production, helps with mood, cognition, even, okay, and just a bunch of reproductive, processes inside of our body. And if there's any, altercation within the thyroid gland, obviously that's when we have issues. Okay, you might know it as fatigue, brain fog, insomnia, weight struggles. Just looking at food makes you gain weight. You know exactly what I mean. And but here's the thing: the problem is that conventional medicine, and even just normal, holistic type things, is that they want to blame the thyroid, but the thyroid is the back of everything and the master of none. Okay, altercations in your thyroid shouldn't mean that you should just manipulate your thyroid, and that's what most do. They give thyroid hormone. But you may know this because you're taking thyroid hormone, you're taking thyroid medication, you might even be taking thyroid supplements, and yet you still deal with symptoms because there's a lot more that's going on into play here. Okay, so the first off, let's get over some terms here to help you get more familiarized and know exactly how your thyroid actually gets converted, made, and synthesized and metabolized even throughout your body. So you have your hypothalamus, which is actually located inside your brain. Okay, that releases something called TRH, thyroid releasing hormone, or thyrotropin to be exact, releasing hormone. Okay, this comes from hypothalamus. So you can think, if you have hormone coming from your brain, if you're dealing with a lot of emotional stress, chemical stress, physical stress, that's going to alter that. Then you have TSH, which you may know this because you get this as a thyroid reading. Okay, and this is actually the messenger to your thyroid gland to produce T4 and T3. Okay, and the thing is the allopathic model, your conventional, even your endocrinologist is not testing a full thyroid panel. And this is hurting you big time because if you're not getting a full picture of what's going on with your thyroid, okay, you don't know if you have Hashimoto's, you don't know even exactly if your thyroid is, if it's low T3 or low T4, if it's high reverse T3, you have to get a full thyroid panel to actually figure out what truly is going on with your thyroid issue. Okay. And so then what happens is that we talked about TRH signals to TSH, and then TSH signals to your thyroid gland to produce majority of it T4, which is the inactive form. Okay, and then it has to convert into the active form T3. And as we'll talk about that activation from the inactive form T4 to T3, remember T3, that's the active form of thyroid. It speaks to every cell inside your body. Okay, so it helps with metabolism, with energy, mood, and everything else. Okay, and then that active form T3 gets inside your cell, and that's what we're talking about, performs its physiological function. Okay, so let's talk about the two top issues. Now, there's many different issues like Graves and hyperthyroidism, but today I'm going to talk about hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. All right, obviously, hypothyroidism is probably the number one issue that millions of Americans experience, especially women. And it pretty much means that you're not having enough T3 and T4 hormone inside your body. And as we talked about, T3, it regulates every cell in our body. So if we're not having enough T3, that's going to obviously slow down everything, especially your metabolism, therefore making weight loss hard. And you know this because you tried the calories, you tried, excessively working out, and nothing is budging. So this is, something you can turn to. The other thing is that we have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune issue that destroys thyroid tissue and causes even hypothyroidism. So here's actually the real lowdown. Many Hashimoto's issues, well, actually many hypothyroidism issues come from Hashimoto's. But since you're not getting a full thyroid panel, years and years go by, and your thyroid's starting to get pretty much, destroyed, for, lack of better terms, and then you actually get hypothyroidism. But at the core of it, 5 years before that, there was autoimmune issues. Your what's called TGAB, your TPO. These are antibodies that your thyroid has. Were already starting to become elevated, indicating Hashimoto's. But since you didn't get a full thyroid panel, you don't know that. Okay. So, okay. But obviously, yeah, women are more commonly, diagnosed and have Hashimoto's than men. But here's the thing. If you have Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism, you're given thyroid medication. Here could be the issue with that. Yes, thyroid medication could be very helpful, especially if you have Hashimoto's, but you may not think it's so helpful because you're still dealing with these chronic symptoms. You still deal with the brain fog, you have swollen joints, everything's swollen. Okay, that's because just flooding your body with synthetic hormone, okay, like levothyroxine, synthroid, triazine, even cytomel, dissected natural thyroid hormone, that still isn't correcting the root cause, which is the overactive immune system for an issue like Hashimoto's. Okay, so I'm hoping this is starting to, get some, things rolling here. So we have hypothyroid symptoms, weight gain, fatigue, obviously slower heart rate. You feel very cold all the time. And a big thing is obviously if you're a woman, reproductive issues, infertility, heavy periods, because it actually, your thyroid hormone plays with estrogen. Okay, depression, impaired memory, brain fog, enlarged thyroid gland, also known as a goiter, constipation, joint pain and stiffness, dry skin and hair, and then, yeah, like I said, cold sensitivities. And then on the other side of things with Hashimoto's, it is almost like identical symptoms. There could be a little bit more because it's an autoimmune issue, so your immune system's aggravated. Okay, big thing is palpitations with your heart, colds, viruses, obviously, because you have a weakened immune system. Joint pain is a big one as well with Hashimoto's autoimmunity. So yeah, both of these kind of play hand in hand because majority of individuals could have both, primarily women as well, as we were talking about. So obviously 12% of the US population will develop a thyroid condition during their lifetime. So that's important to state because 12% of the US population will develop a thyroid condition during their lifetime. 60% of individuals with thyroid diseases are unaware of their condition. Hypothyroidism is the second most common endocrine disorder affecting women of reproductive age. Thyroid issues can lead back to a lot of fertility issues. The most common cause of hypothyroidism, as we state, is Hashimoto's, which is just 5 to 10 times more common in women than men. And then 1 in 8 women will experience a thyroid issue in her lifetime. So I want to talk about this in depth. There are 5 types of thyroid issues. And, hypothyroidism, autoimmune, thyroid resistance, elevated thyroid binding globulin, and thyroid underconversion. Now, these are all going to be foreign terms for you, but the purpose of this is for you to get a better understanding on what you can do, and then knowledge and education for you to understand what is truly going on with your thyroid gland. Because if you ask your doctor, your primary care physician, your endocrinologist, they're not going to tell you much. They're going to give you some type of medication, and they're going to tell you to go on your way, no matter even if you have a full thyroid panel. Okay, so this is all going to be important. So obviously, first one is we have Hashimoto's, autoimmune thyroid issue. But the thing is, the thyroid is not the source of the problem. It is the culprit. Okay, all right, it's not the culprit. My apologies. So what I mean by that is that we can't just be solely looking at the thyroid gland like that's the issue with hypothyroidism and even with Hashimoto's. Okay, because it is just the immune system that is attacking the thyroid gland with a Hashimoto's. Okay. And we have to figure out what's triggering that autoimmune attack, which we'll get into. Next is thyroid resistance, which is the biggest one. So this is actually something called cellular hypothyroidism, which many individuals struggle with. So let me tell you how you know this. You have normal quotations, thyroid numbers through lab work. Even if you do a full thyroid panel, you have a normal T3, you have a normal T4. But the reason why you could have thyroid resistance is that there's something called cellular inflammation due to inflammation and toxins. And now what happens is that active hormone, T3, as we were talking about, can't get inside your cells due to the inflammation. And since it can't get inside your cells to perform what's called a physiological function, just pretty much the movement and actual process of the hormone, you don't feel well. Okay, you have all the symptoms in the book, but you have thyroid or normal thyroid, levels or numbers, you could say. And you might know this, but the best way to actually test this is to look at something called CRP, which is C-reactive protein. And then you could also look at something called reverse T3. Now, these are both lab markers that you can pull with standard blood work even. But still, this is what happens. You have normal thyroid numbers, but you don't have you still deal with every symptom. Next is thyroid binding globulin. So this is like trapping all your thyroid hormone. So you're not able to use all the thyroid hormone that you have. And this could be due to a lot of women that were on birth control, or if you are on birth control as a woman and you deal with extreme weight struggles, weight gain, or anything like that. Okay. So that's how this can, issue can occur with thyroid issues. Okay. And this is actually caused by higher estrogen. So if this is why it's more common in females, because if you're cycling for menstruation and you're not if you're not, having the right menstruation cycle, you're not ovulating properly, then you're going to have that buildup of estrogen. Okay. And those by, PMS symptoms, heavy periods, irregular periods, everything. Okay. And then it damages your thyroid due to thyroid binding globulin. Okay. And then we have thyroid underconversion, which is actually very common, especially with hypothyroidism. And this is essentially where you don't have the right nutrients for your thyroid gland to make the proper conversion from T4 into T3. So you have enzymes called deodonases. So if you're deficient in iodine, selenium, zinc, which most people are, because if you stress too much, if you don't hydrate yourself, if you eat a SAD diet, standard American diet, if you have so much emotional stress, all these things deplete those nutrients. And iodine is, a very common nutrient that many individuals are deficient in. And if you're deficient in it, it's going to slow down thyroid function. It's going to give you low T3, low T4. But your TSH might look normal, and your doctor's not running a full thyroid panel, so you're still dealing with the symptom. All right. So going back into iodine deficiency, when you're dealing with toxins coming from chlorine, fluoride, from the water you drink, tap water, that's also going to affect, your body's thyroid hormone. Okay. Because you're going to become deficient in iodine. Okay. It's toxin to your thyroid. Okay. And obviously the thing is that we need enough iodine as well. So women need more iodine because they need it for their breast tissue, their ovaries as well. And then men don't need it because they don't have those organ systems. Okay. But you must check your antibodies and your iodine levels before you just blindly take iodine, because if you overtake iodine, you're going to get a goiter inside your thyroid gland. So this is actually a lab value that you can pull with your, clinician or whatever, but you want to check your iodine levels before you try to just take iodine. Okay. Next is I have this reference here coming from the Journal of Functional Practitioner. So what we have here is that we have the things on the left are the things that affect your thyroid gland. Okay, stress. Obviously, stress suppresses your thyroid function. Okay, and stress comes in many forms. But for you spent years yo-yo dieting. Okay, you have all these toxic relationships. Probably you got these negative thoughts. You talk negative to yourself. You have negative conversations. That's all a form of stress. You got all this emotional stress. Then you got the physical stress. Then you got the worst of all, chemical stress. The makeup to put on. Okay, the water you drink, the food you eat, the conventional meat that you eat, all these things are destroying your thyroid gland, making weight loss hard. It's more than just calories in, calories out exercise, and I promise you that. I do this all the time. All right, infections, trauma. Big thing is the trauma. If you don't know how to, if you haven't worked through that or whatever, that's going to cause issues. Fluoride, like I said, toxins, mercury, heavy metal, lead. We eat a plastic, a card of. We eat pretty much enough plastic for a card weekly, and just our food supply. So detoxification is a huge portion. You'll see that it's actually part of the healing process for your thyroid disease. And then obviously celiac, autoimmune disease, that's going to obviously inevitably a severe form of gluten insensitivity. If you're eating gluten and you have celiac, that's going to inevitably impair your thyroid function. Okay. And then obviously things to help you, iron, iodine. We talked about iodine. Tyrosine is a big one. If many people are dopamine depleted, and that comes from tyrosine, because tyrosine is a precursor to your dopamine levels. Okay, we have zinc, selenium, and then vitamin E, which is actually, many women are low in vitamin E because they don't produce enough progesterone during ovulation, going into luteal phase, if you're familiar with your cycles. And then they're depleted in all B vitamins. Things also, to help with it is the selenium and zinc to help with thyroid conversion. And then just to improve cellular thyroid hormone, helping your body actually use the hormone that's getting made. Vitamin A is a big one, exercise, and zinc. Okay, so let's get over to the root causes to why your thyroid function could be low. And I'm going to tell you, it's not because you're deficient in levothyroxine or synthroid. So number one is going to be stress, and like I said, stress can come in many forms. And like we just talked about, stress comes in many forms: inflammation, food intolerances. Okay. Now here's the biggest thing, and this is coming from clinical experience with working with many, many, many women that struggle with thyroid issues that have helped, get their thyroid levels back, put their Hashimoto's into remission, and obviously, above all, what you all want, lose the weight. So the big thing is poor gut health. When you have some type of dysbiosis, let's say you have an IBS label, or you have SIBO, or you have candida, or you have yeast infections, UTIs reoccurring, you took in rounds of antibiotics, these things are going to impair your gut microbiome, which inevitably will impair your thyroid hormone. Okay, like I talked about, and then by disrupting the microbiome, because 80% of your immune cells are housed in your gut, that's also going to trigger your immune system. What then happens? Hashimoto's. Okay, nutrient deficiency is a big one as well, a root cause. We're talking about thyroid under conversion. And then obviously autoimmune issue could be. And then there's many root causes to an autoimmune. The biggest ones is leaky gut, okay, SIBO, inflammatory foods, food sensitivities, and emotional trauma. Those are the biggest four triggers for Hashimoto's. All right. Another one is toxins. If you are dealing with poor liver detoxification, which we talked about, that's going to slow down thyroid hormone, because a lot of your thyroid hormone is going to metabolize and made inside your liver. If you're going through obviously menopause, that's going to impair thyroid binding globulin, which we talked about, reducing the amount of free hormone you have, especially as well during pregnancy. Okay, medications will interfere. A lot of the beta blockers, so pre-diabetes. So if you're a woman with PCOS and you have pre-diabetes, or you have diabetes because you have high cholesterol and LDL or whatever, you might be taking those medications for that, but then that's going to interfere with your thyroid hormone. Okay, it's also going to deplete nutrients that you need for your thyroid hormone. You see, and then they'll just put you on thyroid hormone, and that's just how it works. But taking a root cause approach, we have to look at the whole picture, holistic. Okay, all right. So here's how through actually how you could actually fix these issues. I'm not your doctor though. This isn't medical advice. If you're working with me, it'd be different. But let's go through it. So you have to get a full thyroid panel. You want to figure out what exactly is truthfully going on. You want to look at your TSH. You want to look at your free T4, free T3, reverse T3, and then your antibodies to rule out Hashimoto's. And then you're going to have to worry about the big four, or get to the big four, which is your gut health, inflammation, toxicity, and your stress. Okay. You have to help fix your liver, your gut. Where is the inflammation coming from, and the stress? And then obviously you want to implement an anti-inflammatory diet. Okay. And so I have some more notes here. So you want to eliminate trigger foods. So these trigger foods are things like gluten, wheat, soy, corn, dairy. I'd say if you remove those out of your diet for a week, 2 weeks, and then you slowly reintroduce them and see how you feel, that would dramatically help with your thyroid health and your thyroid function. And it's also going to help you lose weight, because it's going to help you with thyroid health. Okay, obviously cutting back on added sugars, redefined carbohydrates, artificial sweeteners. All these things do is feed into yeast in your gut. They ferment inside your gut. They give you just inflammatory responses. All these things. All right, you want to have foods that are high in selenium, zinc, iron, B vitamins, and vitamin A. Okay, you're gonna these are different types of Brazil nuts, seeds, omega-3. Okay, different types of red meats, even poultry is big. And different things like that. And this next one is a little bit different. So I'd say that you can have, a lot of fermented foods and prebiotic rich foods, because they help produce short chain fatty acids and feed into your gut microbiome. But the thing is that if you're someone dealing with severe gut issues, like an IBS label or SIBO or Candida, you don't want to have these foods yet. You want to wait till you eradicate the what's called dysbiosis inside your gut before you even try to take a probiotic. So just merely taking a probiotic and your gut's already in shambles because someone told you have Hashimoto's and you take a probiotic because that's what they said, that's going to cause more issues if you're dealing with a bacterial overgrowth. Now, if you aren't, that's going to help. So it's all like case dependent. Remember, it's just all about you, right? You're obviously going to want to limit alcohol, but I'd eliminate it for 2 to 3 weeks to just lower the systemic inflammation, this inflammation everywhere. And then you want to, depending on if you have Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism, based off your antibodies, you want to have either iodine-rich foods or not iodine-rich, or just limit your iodine foods, okay? Depending on what you have. Another thing is to adopt a low-toxic lifestyle, clean water, clean air, clean food, okay? Remove heavy metals. This can actually come from dentures in your teeth, which is a whole different topic. You want to reduce stress, obviously. You want to do restorative stuff. So if you are dealing with, a lot of hypothyroid and Hashimoto's, maybe for a few weeks, you don't like kill yourself in the gym. You're not doing HIIT. You're not doing CrossFit. You're just doing like low, it's called LISS, low intensity, steady state, maybe different cardio, different things like that. Obviously you need to get the sleep. You have to do everything you can to get more sleep, meditate, spend time in journal. And, I would say use different types of counseling or therapy things to help with any type of trauma or issues that you could be dealing with, because that's all going to lead to thyroid issues. So what I do have here is that if you click the link below here, you're going to have a full thyroid cheat sheet, which is actually going to link you to all different types of protocols you can do for lifestyle. It's also going to give you all the supplemental recommendations that I use with clients that have Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism, and even hyperthyroidism and Graves' disease. So I'd say look at that in the description, and if you're ready to, actually like put a halt to this, get to the root cause, and you want guaranteed results, and you don't want to think about what you need to do, how to do it, and you're ready for actual change, that's when you get with me, because we have a whole, process that we do with every single client here, and we get to the true root cause. So that's something you're interested in, check out everything that I have, like all the YouTubes, all the content, look at all the results, all the testimonials, look at how I do the process, and then get with me. All right. So hope this helps.